Dumpster fire Dems are breaking out the heavyweights. Barack Obama and Kamala Harris are coming to the rescue of the party they screwed over to trash President Trump.
People tend to think, democracy, rule of law, independent judiciary, freedom of the press, that's all abstract stuff because it's not affecting the price of eggs. Well, you know what? It's about to affect the price of eggs.
There were many things that we knew would happen. Many things. I'm not here, so I told you so.
That comes as we learn how a top Harris campaign advisor was horrified by Kamala's infamous View appearance, where she couldn't think of anything she'd do differently from Joe Biden. Well, that moment caused Stephanie Cutter to blurt out, "What the hell was that?" And another bombshell Biden book is revealing how former White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain said Biden was fatigued, befuddled, and disengaged before his debate disaster. An ex-Biden campaign staffer feels betrayed.
Ashley, do you feel lied to?
Yeah, I do. I hadn't been around the president before that debate, and I worked for Joe Biden, and if the people around him knew that he was not capable, it is unacceptable to me that they allowed him to go onto that stage. I deserve better as a voter, not even as a Democrat, as a voter and as an American. I do.
Do you love how all of a sudden, Katie, they're coming out and saying, I deserve better? How is it that we all saw it, but they didn't?
Yeah, if you had eyes and ears and you paid any attention to what was going on, not to mention the fact that the president was hiding from the American people for years on end and couldn't really speak for himself, you knew exactly what was happening. You were just in denial. So now they're in the state of acceptance and they're trying to rebuild their party. It's not going well. The approval rating of the Democratic Party is at 23%. And who do we see going out and trying to talk about it? The failed Democratic nominee, Kamala Harris, doing what she's always done, going out and laughing, saying, I told you so, as if the American people really buy that things would be better under a President Harris. Are you kidding me? Especially with the jobs report today that came out that was good for the economy. You know, Democrats really have to also get rid of Barack Obama. I know he's a former president. He was popular when he left office, but he does not have a good track record of bringing Democrats with him. He went through one of the worst House losses in 2010 that you had seen in 2 decades. He is not good at getting on the campaign trail and bringing people with him to victory. And he also lied about Joe Biden. A month before Biden took that stage, he did a big fundraiser with George Clooney, trotted him out, then had to escort him off stage and still continued to ask people for money and for people to vote for Joe Biden. And so his credibility is completely shot, and they got to find new people because they're not trustworthy and people don't want to listen to what they have to say.
You know, Piers, the interesting thing is that Obama actually worked to derail Kamala. He didn't want her to be the candidate. And yet he didn't have the strength to do that. And even now, as supposedly the leader of the party, I mean, he's not coming out and doing what he should be doing.
Look, they all perpetrated a massive hoax and deceit on the American people. Let's be crystal clear. And if Kamala Harris wants to play I told you so, then let's play that game too. For example, March 2022, Joe Biden is showing increasingly worrying signs of age-related cognitive decline. That's a big problem for America and the world at such a critical time, as is the pathetic way the Democrats and much of the mainstream media keep trying to excuse his dreadful gaffes and talk up his supposedly commanding leadership. They're so desperate to portray him as the calm, smart, wise, fact-driven antidote to Donald Trump that they can't see the shambolic train wreck right in front of their eyes, or they see it but choose to ignore it. March 2022, followed 3 months later by a headline, "It may be time to invoke the 25th Amendment on ailing, failing Biden if he deteriorates further. If his functionality continues to deteriorate at the rate it's doing, then he will surely render himself constitutionally unfit to serve as president." Those are 2 columns in the New York Post by me. I'm not even American, let alone working at the White House, right? This was me, a British guy who wasn't even here for most of this period, just watching what I was seeing with my own eyes from all the gaffes and the cock-ups and him falling over, mumbling words, changing policies and so on. The truth is, everybody knew. Everybody knew. So for all of them to come out of the woodwork now and start disingenuously playing this game of, well, we weren't sure and blah, it's all baloney. It's baloney. And they should be held account to it. I mean, the Democrats have got a lot of soul searching. That poll number is catastrophic.
Yeah.
It's literally catastrophic. And their answer appears to be put Kamala Harris back out. She looked, I'm not saying she...
Go ahead.
She looked drunk in that video. She did. She looked like she'd been partying again. But I'd forgotten about the word salad, the annoying laugh and everything else. If that is the future, is to wheel her back out to try and say, I told you so, then let me remind you, we all told you and your party about the actual state of Joe Biden. And for another 2.5 years, you allowed him to pretend to run the United States of America. And that is a disgrace.
And, you know, Jesse, it's kind of amazing that she now is talking about the price of eggs, Kamala Harris, and even Stephanie Cutter, who said, you know, what is it? What the hell? It's not like she wasn't prepared for the question on The View, like, what would you do differently from Joe Biden? They prepped that question.
I love Piers.
Oh, thank you, Jesse.
To quote Piers Morgan,
you had me on I love Piers. You had me on I love Piers.
You're fitting in quite well, Piers. Yeah, so I don't know if she's drunk or not, but I told you so. We told you so. This woman couldn't answer what she would do differently, and they trained her to say what she would do differently.
Yeah.
Doug, her husband, who I love, just bent the knee and said, I'm going to do $100 million in free legal services to the president. Donald Trump has Kamala's husband working for him. That's what's going on right now. Biden was a vegetable for 4 years. Yeah. She just came out and said, I told you so. Where was she for 4 years? We had Newt on last night, Newt Gingrich, if you're unfamiliar with him. Not a member of parliament, it's the House, Piers. He said that they should impanel a joint House and Senate committee to do a full investigation of this cover-up.
He's right.
And they should bring in Ron Klain, swear him in under oath. What did you know and when did you know it? Because it looked like he was the president. And if he was the president and Joe Biden didn't know what he was doing, are all of his orders constitutional? Are they on firm constitutional ground? Could they be vacated? It's something I'd like to look into. And then talking about Barack Obama, Hussein, I won't say his middle name, but I did. Doesn't he look, I know you're going to like this word, feckless? Because when you see the kind of power the presidency has and the way Donald Trump exercises it, and just him doing absolutely nothing for 8 years on trade, on wages, on crime, what a missed opportunity.
Now, what did we miss, Craig, on this topic?
You know what? That is the best question I've ever been asked. We missed who's really guilty here. We have let the mainstream media off the hook in this story, right? The Democrats could only have pulled this off if they assumed they could have pulled it off.
That's right.
You know, we were talking about in the green room, like what possessed Morning Joe to go on and torch his own career in order to preserve the commander in coma. I mean, he said things that were like you could not say without your inner thoughts going, you're losing your mind, you're losing your mind, and yet they did. So there has to be a book. I'm too lazy to write it. There has to be a book on the decisions made by the head of networks to protect Biden. Why did these people do this when they knew? Why did they go after people for telling the truth, for speaking up, like what happened on CNN with Laura Trump? Why did they do that? It's crazy. You know, you see Obama and Harris out there. You know, by the way, someone should have cut off Kamala at the bar, not during her speech, because, yeah, she was loaded. Speaking from experience, that was fun. But if you notice, there's no appealing face for the Democratic Party, and here's why. All the people you see have crazy eyes. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed AOC, Jasmine, Cory Booker? Remember Cory Booker? My mouth is on fire. You know, I just ate a hot slice of pizza. My mouth is on fire. That's how he talks. They all act and look like that crazy homeless woman you caught peeing in your driveway. Eyes are bulging like pinballs. It's hilarious and it's sad. So you have to have Obama show up, and he's going through a crisis because he's looking at Trump and he's going, why him and not me? I'm actually seeing hope and change. You know, this isn't symbolism and threats. This isn't like a bunch of catchphrases and platitudes. I mean, he's doing what I promised on the border, on tariffs. He got rid of ISIS. Man, it's like, how does he do this? And it's because the Democrats, they can act, but they can't take action. And that is what you're seeing.
It's talking the talk and not walking the walk. All right, coming up. The Tesla terror dance squad is making a comeback. Anti-Musk crazies gearing up for a nationwide protest.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.